Okay. Okay, so yesterday we were looking at rates. Okay, different rates. Now, basically, what I was trying to get you to understand is that when we're talking about rates, we can put everything into proportions of each other. Okay, we're putting things into terms of fractions of each other. So if we have a look here, proportion is know the layout to determine whether we're more or less. Now, we don't really need to see that. We'll see that through calculation. Okay. So when we're talking about direct proportion, as direct proportion, if something increases, the other amount will also increase. Okay. Because it's direct. So if something is small, direct proportion. Okay. So if some of you are going to do physics next year. Okay. So it looks like that, and you get a graph that looks something like that. As you increase in this way increases as well. So there we get direct proportion. Okay, so I want to explain it in this way. We're going to put it in terms of fractions. We're going to make things equal to each other. Okay. If it says that a farmer buys 7 tractors for 480,000, how much will he pay for 3 tractors? Okay, so have a look here. They said the 7 is equal to 480,000. Okay, we can therefore say that 3 tractors is equal to X. All right. Okay, we said they are equal to each other. Now, let's represent those things because we've said that exactly 7 is exactly 480,000. If two things are exactly the same, okay, we can write it as a fraction, as 1 over another. And because if you take something and you divide it by the same equal something, what are you doing? Something divided by something is it's 1. X divided by x is 1. 7 divided by 7 is 1. So in this case, 480,000 Rand is equal to 7 tractors. So this is how we do it. We're going to say this. I'm going to say X tractors, X amount of Rand is equal to 3 tractors. Okay, but now it's all proportion. We're talking about rands and tractors. We're not talking about oranges now. We're talking about just the rands and tractors. So it's also the same as 480,000 for 7 tractors. So now what we have done, we've taken our information and represented it in proportions, in ratios of each other, where you can now do calculations. Having a look at that, that's just plain algebra then. What we're going to do, if it's divided by 3 on the left, what do you have to do to get rid of that? You have to times by 3. So instead of, we're going to times by 3 on both sides. We can clearly see that's going to cancel with that. And we can rewrite it as x is equal to 3, okay, 480,000 over 7. Okay, so let's look at that. We have 3, therefore the cost of 3 tractors is 480,000 multiplied by 3 divided by 7. Okay, that's just to fill in. But I want you guys to look and understand how we're finding these fractions here. Okay, we're putting them in the same proportion to each other. Okay, so we work that, we stick it into our calculator, and what do we get? I'm going to find the calculator. Okay, so we say 3 multiplied by 480,000 divided by 7. And we get therefore for 3 tractors, I'm going to just equal sign, I'm going to put it up here, is 205,714.2 decimal places 29. rand. Okay. So, do you see what we've done there? We've taken, because they've said 7 tractors equals 480,000. Therefore, 3 tractors will equal X amount of tractors. We take it into a formula, put something what we want on the top, so it's easy to work out, and then we solve. So, have a look at this. Look at the next one. A machine takes 20 seconds to make 8 coins. How long will it take to make 50 coins? So we set it up. We say 8 coins is equal to 20 seconds. Therefore, 50 coins is equal to X seconds. Okay. So then we can set it up like that. Now there's a whole many different ways you can set it up. It's up to you.
You're calling from the paper-based grade 8 English class. Will you please indicate where you are?
Okay, but I'm going to set it up like this. I'm going to say X over 50, okay, because I have X amounts of seconds for 50 coins is the same as 20 seconds for 8 there. Now, do you see again, we've done exactly the same thing. We've got it in proportions to each other. All we're basically doing is working with ratios and saying if this is the ratio for this one thing, what will be the exact same thing for the other one? Okay, so therefore 20 times 50 divided by 8 will give me an answer. So what we're doing here, look at this is the algebra of it. We take the 50 over and we say 20 multiplied by 50 all over 8. And we'll get an answer there. We're going to say 20 multiplied by 50 divided by 8. Okay. So it'll take 125 seconds. Now, does that make sense? Okay, it takes 8 coins, 20 seconds. Now, if you have more coins to make on the same machine, okay, how long does it take? Does it make sense that you take 125 seconds? It takes longer. Does that make sense? Yes. So there we can see the coming in with the direct proportion. Okay. Any questions about that? No. Yes. Right. So now we're going to have a look at inverse proportion. As one direct proportion, if something increases, the other thing also increases. Now, what would you say the inverse of that be? If something increases, the other will decrease. Yes. Decrease. So let's have a look at this thing now. It takes 8 men 9 days to complete a task. How long will it take 6 men to do the same task? So do you see there, we're completing one task. So if 8 men takes 9 days, do you think 6 men are going to take more or less time to do it? It's going to do more. You expect it to be more. So let's work it out. We say 8 men gives us 9 days of work for that same project. Now in that same project, 6 men will be how many? X days. All right. So we got X days. Okay, we put the X at the top. We want that. Is the same and in proportion with 6 is equal to 9. Okay, over 8. All right, 9 over 8. Okay. So we're going to say X is equal to 6 times 9 over 8. And we get what? What do you do if you plug that in? 6.75. Now, think about what we said there, okay? Think about what we have. We said inverse proportion. If something increases, the other must decrease. So in respect to that, if something decreases, the other must increase. So we decreased the number of men, okay? So therefore the number of days should increase. Do you see? Okay, you understand that? Now we just worked it out and we got 6.75. Who can tell me what we did wrong? Who can tell me what we did wrong? Who can see it? Okay, have a look. Look at what we did previously. Okay, and look what we did wrong there. Okay, any ideas? Have a look at what we did in the first one. Okay, direct proportion. That over that gives me that over that. Okay, and we expected it to get smaller because we decreased the number of tractors, so the cost would decrease. Okay, what kind of function is this? What's this here? What's this fraction called? What's a fraction do? It divides. Now look at what Tanati said there. We got to multiply. So if it's inverse, we need to do the opposite. Now what's the opposite of divide? Times. So let's have a look. Okay. So this is as hard as it gets because, okay, because we have to know if it's inverse proportion or direct proportion. We have to just know it, and we know it by understanding the question. Okay, so therefore the number of days, okay, for 6 men is going to be 8 times 9 divided by 6. So if we set up our little equation, okay, we say 6 times x, okay, is equal to 8 times 9. Okay, do you see that? So now, because it's inverse proportion, okay, if it's direct proportion, we've been dividing. If it's inverse proportion, we are multiplying. Okay. Now, a lot of this stuff, it's very, how can I say, it's very word-summy. Okay. And you have to understand what they're asking. Okay. So, therefore, we can solve there. Therefore, x is going to be equal to 12. Now, does that make sense? Okay. Does that make sense now? Because we decrease the number of men to complete the same task, does it make sense that it therefore takes longer to do? Do you agree? Do you see that? So we have to do it like that. So have a look here. Look at the next one. It took a crowd at the Olympics 2 hours to leave a stadium through 11 gates. How long will it take if another 5 gates were opened? Okay. How many gates were there? There was 11. So if another 5, what's it going to be? It's going to be 16. Now, a lot of people straight away they'll say, oh, okay, 5 and x and then solve for x. No, it needs to be 16 because another 5 are opened. So the number of gates increases to 16. Okay. So have a think about it. There's a whole bunch of people leaving a stadium and you only have 11 gates to leave and it takes 2 hours. Now, if there's more places for all the crowd to leave, do you think the hours is going to increase or the hours are going to decrease? They're going to decrease. We expect it to decrease. Okay, so we're going to say 16x is equal to 2 times 11 because we said 11 hours, 11 gates gives us 2 hours. So 16 gates, no, that's not, I don't know what that is. Therefore, 16 gates will give us x hours and we expect it to be less. So we're going to say here, x is therefore equal to 22 over 16. Okay. X is equal to what? So 22 divided by 16. Okay. 1 6.375. Okay, hours. We'll just leave it as that for now. Okay, but do you see what they've said there? It is, did the time increase or the time decrease? Decrease. Does that make sense? Yes. So then, using 16 gates, okay, is going to be 11 times 2 divided by 16. Okay. Okay, does that make sense to you? Okay. Now, let's look at the other examples now, and now we have to decide, okay, whether it's going to be direct or inverse proportions. Okay. So let's have a read here. 12 pumps fill a dam in 4 hours. How long will it take to fill the dam if 3 pumps break down? Right. Okay. So we have 12 pumps and 3 break down. So how many pumps do we have? We have 9 pumps. Okay. So do you think 9 pumps is going to make the hours longer or shorter? Going to make it longer. So it's going to be, is it direct or inverse proportion? It's inverse, because if something decreases, the other one increases. So it's going to be X. So using 9 pumps, okay, is 12 times 4 divided by 9. And we get that because 9x is equal to 12 times 4. Therefore, x is equal to 48 over 9, which is equal to what? 48 divided by 9. 5.33 hours. So does it make sense that if we have less pumps, the time is longer? It makes sense, right? Okay. So then if it makes sense, then therefore our answer is most probably right. Okay. Have a look at the next one. An 8-man life raft has emergency provisions for 20 days. So 8-man for 20 days. How many days will 6 survivors be able to survive? So, what are we doing? Is this inverse or direct proportion? Okay. Think about it, there's 8 people in a raft and it can last for 20 days, but now we have less people. Are we going to be able to survive for more or for less days? Okay, for more days, because if it's 8 people eating days for 20 food for 20 days, if there's less people eating, then you survive for longer. No? So if 6 people are able, for 6, so it's going to be number 8 to 6. So that's a decrease. Do you then expect it's going to increase? Okay, so we're expecting x to increase. So is that going to be an inverse or direct proportion? Inverse. So we're going to say days with 6 people is equal to 8 times 20 divided by 6. And we got it from our ratio of saying 6x is equal to 20 times 8. X is therefore equal to 160 divided by 6. 160 divided by 6. And we have x is equal to 26.67 days. 6-7 days. So that's like, I don't know, makes you to lunchtime. You don't quite get to supper. Shame. Okay. So do you understand how these proportion things are working? Okay. We have to look at the problem. We have to see of what's happening, and then expect our answer. Is it going to be more? Is it going to be less? All right. Okay. Any questions? No. Okay. So you can see over here. Okay. I'm going to highlight it for you. Homework. Okay, exercise 1.8 and 1.9. All right. Okay.